Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
The State Department's diplomatic workforce is feeling overburdened, under-resourced, and more likely to leave in the next few years. That's according to a recent survey from the American Foreign Service Association. The State Department conducted widespread layoffs this year. It also closed and consolidated hundreds of offices as part of an agency reorganization. And Foreign Service officers say they're spread thin because of these changes. Federal News Network's Jory Heckman has more. Jory, thank you for joining me.
Hey, Terry. Great to be here.
Tell us about the American Foreign Service Association survey. Why did they conduct it and why now?
AFSA conducted this survey because they feel that Foreign Service officers have not had the opportunity to give this feedback to agency leadership. And that's all because, as we reported earlier this summer, the Trump administration is not conducting the Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey this year. They are not doing that government-wide. That has been a reliable indicator of how federal employees feel about their agencies and whether they report high or low morale. And in the absence of the Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey, this union, AFSA, is stepping in and providing this data on their own.
What were some of the key takeaways in their findings?
Yeah, so really across the board here, a real feeling of concern with recent changes at the State Department. The survey, they heard from more than 2,100 Foreign Service officers still in active duty, still at the department, and 98% of them, 98% of these respondents reported reduced morale this year. That's nearly everyone who responded to the survey. That's concerning there. And then 86% of respondents said that workplace changes since January have affected their ability to advance U.S. diplomatic priorities, impacted in not a good way, a negative impact on where things are going. Nearly a third of survey respondents said that they have since changed their career plans since the beginning of this year. The Foreign Service is an up and out kind of system where once you join, you typically stay for the long haul. You make a career out of it. You stay for decades at a time. More than 80% of respondents said they entered the Foreign Service intending to stick around for about 20 years or more. But now 22% of respondents say they plan to leave the department within the next year or two. This is really something that AFSA is sounding the alarm on. AFSA's president, John Dinkelman, said that these results amount to a workplace crisis and that it's going to take years, if not decades, to reverse the impact of what's been going on this year.
When we undermine the Foreign Service, we undermine America's ability to prevent conflict, support our allies, and protect our citizens abroad. In short, we weaken our global leadership.
Jory, what has the State Department said about the survey? Have they made any comment?
Yeah, so a State Department spokesperson did say that Secretary of State Marco Rubio values these candid insights from individuals who are trying to serve their country. One thing that the spokesperson did say, though, is that what the department will not tolerate is people using their positions to actively undermine the duly elected president's priorities and objectives. And we have seen this year the State Department take some changes to how they vet incoming Foreign Service officers. One thing that has changed is they have now added a criteria that they say focuses on fidelity to the administration's priorities as a criteria for whether folks in the Foreign Service get promotions or not. And they've also changed around the Foreign Service officer test, the entry-level test that folks take to join the Foreign Service. And so amid all these workforce cuts, they have been taking steps to ensure that people that adhere to the administration's priorities are now joining the Foreign Service.
Jory, just remind us overall, how big are the cuts that the State Department experienced over the course of this last year, and what's feeding into all of these responses?
This summer, the State Department laid off about 1,300 employees overall. The majority of those cuts impacted the civil service workforce, so folks who don't go overseas typically. And meanwhile, there's also been some impact to the Foreign Service. About 250 Foreign Service officers were also impacted by those RIFs. And this Friday, they will officially separate from the department. That will be the last wave of those RIFs that will be finalized. And so when you do all the math here, the State Department the Foreign Service, they had about 1,700 active duty officers before the Trump administration began. And AFSA estimates nearly 25% of that workforce is now gone. About 4,000 Foreign Service individuals have left the department this year through layoffs and through voluntary incentives like the Deferred Resignation Program and retirements.
What impact does all of that have on the diplomatic mission? Are they able to document it or quantify it at this point?
So survey respondents did pretty significantly respond to the idea that they are spread thin, that they have fewer individuals doing the mission. One thing that also contributed to that was a government-wide hiring freeze that was in effect for much of this year through mid-October. And what we heard from Rohit Nepal, who's AFSA's vice president for the State Department, he said that active duty Foreign Service officers have been spread thin. He recalled his last active duty post in Amman, Jordan, that they were also impacted by the hiring freeze. And that is, of course, a zone that has seen a lot of geopolitical conflict recently.
We found ourselves unable to hire even while we were dealing with an exchange of regular Iranian missile exchanges over Jordanian skies during the Israel-Iran war. This hiring bar included some of the very people that we were relying on to keep the embassy community safe during an incredibly dangerous time.
It's pretty impactful. What does AFSA hope happens as a result of publishing the survey data?
They're hopeful that Congress steps in all of this, that they play a more active role in how the State Department manages its workforce. And they really hope that folks in Congress make sure that State Department doesn't get rid of key individuals, doesn't get rid of key talent that is necessary to advance this diplomatic mission. Senator Chris Van Hollen, who does play an active role in the Foreign Service work of Congress, did put out a statement raising concerns about the AFSA survey. We'll likely hear from other lawmakers as in response to this survey data as well. And it's been a tough year for the State Department and, of course, related agencies like USAID and the Voice of America are things that are relevant to the State Department's mission as well. And they've also, of course, gone through very significant cuts. USAID has been shuttered, of course.
That's Federal News Network's Jory Heckman. Jory, thanks for bringing us this information.
Thanks, Terry.
You can find his story at federalnewsnetwork.com.